Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's ClaritySoft webinar. Today is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022, and our topic for today is Leveraging Excel Reports Part 2. 2 weeks ago, we did the Part 1, where we learned how to create an Excel report using one data source sheet and using pivot tables. Today, we're going to work with using two data source sheets and how you can pull the data in and create your template from that. So we will be basically the sample that we're building today is a quota, sales quota versus actual sales report. And I'm using a little bit of a technique in here that might give you some ideas on some other ways to use it yourself. And so first of all, we will look at what we want in that report and then set up the data for the report. I set up a custom module where we're putting in actual sales quotas that we set up for the sales team. And then we'll go through the basic process where you build your template, you download it, modify that template by putting in some sample data like we did in the last webinar. And then once you've got the whole template modified and the way you want it, you upload it, and then you're able to run your report. So we'll be walking through the same steps, but this time using two data sheets. So I'm going to go to my ClaritySoft here. And I have already logged into my database. And today we're working with the sales module. And what we will be doing is looking at the sales that we made with an order date of 2021, okay? So we're kind of behind times, but that's all right. We have a complete year. So what I've done in here to prepare this for my report that I want to create, I'm using the order date for the time filter of January 1st to December 31st, 2021. I also, in order to make this a little bit easier for the report to work, is I added a custom field called month, so that when you're adding a new sale, you can put in the actual order date, but then you would select from this drop-down list of what month it is in, okay? So I did that on purpose to add that. I'm sure if you could do this sort of calculation in the spreadsheet, in the Excel template, that if you're pulling the date in, you could do a calculation to return the month. But I'm doing it in here just to make it easier overall. So that was one thing I did. The second thing I've done is I created a view or a filter for the order date of 2021. And what I did for that is I added it. I simply created a time filter where the order date is January 1st to December 31st, 2021. Because I always want this to be 2021, it's just as easy to put in the date range and fix that time. If I did year to date, it would work until 2022, and then it would switch to 2022. So in this case, I wanted to lock in the date range, and that's how I set up that particular filter, okay? So that was that preparation, and that's the same filter we will use in the report. So if I run this, we are going to have only 2021 sales orders because the date, and I have them in reverse order. If I click here, here's January all the way through December, and we have 147 records, okay? So that was my preparation there. Then, in order to set up sales quotas, I created a custom module, and you can see it right here. And in the custom module, I can go year by year and work with my sales team to add a new set of quotas for each month of the year. So what I did, let me open a new one. I first of all added my company as an account in the database, and then I added all the sales team as contacts, so that if I'm adding a new record, I just add the company, and then I can start typing the person's name that I want. Then I added a year field, so I can have, you probably saw I had 2020 and I have 2021. So I could add a 2022 here and then go through and type in the sales quota amount for each month that Bill is expecting to hit. Okay. And I would just go through and type in a value and then save and close the record. Then I would go to the next person and do that. So you can see that if I open Bill's 2021 record here, these are the values for the year 2021 that I have put in for him. Okay, so that's there. And then I would add 2022. This would give you the ability to compare from year to year to year if you wanted to. You don't have to put the year in. You can just come in here and change these each year. But if you wanted to do a comparison from year to year, then you can add this year field into the custom module. So question, how do you set up the custom module? If you go to settings, and you have to be an admin user for this, you would go to customization, and then down here you have custom modules. And on the right, you would click the add button to add the custom module that you want. And when you add a new module, you'll type a name for it, and then you connect it or relate it to either accounts or contacts. In this case, I want it related to contacts, which is why I added each of my sales team people as a contact in the database, so I could easily relate them. Okay. So I set that up. Then once you've saved your custom module, you come back over here on the left and click on custom fields, and you will see the different custom modules. You can have more than one. So you see, I actually have 3 of them, but then I click on my sales quotas, and my custom fields are simply the 12 months of the year. Each one is a number field. And then the year field, I made text because it's just 2021, 2022. It's just a text field. Okay. So that's how I set up the custom module. And then again, once you set up custom modules or any custom fields, you have to go to your record designer and do your screen layout and get that all set up. Okay. So that is my preparation for my report. Now, let's go to Excel reports. And we're going to create a new Excel report. I'm going to stick it in webinar reports folder. Again, if you want to add a new folder, you can click and add a new folder before you create the report, so you can save it in whatever folder you want. Then you're going to give it a name. I'm going to call this 2021 quota versus, I'm adding the word webinar here just to make it different. And then I can put a description in. I'm simply going to copy this and paste it. Okay. So once I've put it in the folder, given it a name, click save. Then you're creating your first data source sheet. And we are connecting this to the sales module. And then for the source sheet name, if you think you're going to pull in multiple years of the sales data and the quota data, then I would suggest naming this 2021 sales. Okay, because you might have another sheet called 2022 sales. All right, so we're going to give that name. And then like we did before, we select the data columns that we want to pull in from the sales module. So when I'm doing the account, and to do this, I'm holding the control key down. I'm doing the contact. I'm coming down here and I'm doing the order number. I'm doing the order date. I'm going down to my custom fields and I want the month field. And then I'm doing sale rep. And then I'm doing the subtotal. Okay, I can kick all these over here at one time. And then what I'd like to do, have these in. I want the order number here, order date, and then I want the month. Doesn't matter a whole lot, but in this case, because it's a formula that we're going to create, I'm putting them in a particular order. But again, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I have these in the order in which I want them. Now I go to the column for sort columns, and I'm simply going to sort by the order date. I'm not going to do a secondary sort, doesn't really matter. Okay. Then the filter criteria, as we said in the sales module, we want it to be, the order date is 01, 01, 2021, 12, 31, 021. So I'm doing the year 2021. I want it fixed. Okay. We're not doing any other filter at all. All right. So I've got that set up for my first source sheet. I save it, takes me back. And now I want to add a new source. This one is pulling from the sales quotas. And we're going to again put the year with it because I may pull in sales quotas from 2022 if I add to this. Okay. Save it. And then I'm going to bring over the contact. And then I want all my months in order. Okay. They're listed in alphabetical order over here. And so I want to pull them in month order. So I just have to kind of keep coming over here. And then year I can bring over. And if you want to, I probably could move this all the way to the top. Doesn't really matter, but I can go there. Okay. So I have my columns. And here I'm going to sort by the contact. Again, it doesn't matter. You definitely don't want to sort by the month or it'll mess them all up again. So you can do by the contact name. And then the filter criteria. The standard filter we're going to use this time because we're now going to use that year field is equal to 2021 because we have no other date field. We can't use a time filter because we don't have one. But the standard filter where I created that year field, I can use as 2021. So I now have my second source sheet set up and I save it. Now, if you were going to add 2022, you could do that. You could add another sheet, call it 2022 sales quotas, and then use the year filter for the sales quotas. And you could use for sales, you could put in the range for 2022. And then as each month goes on, it would keep pulling in the 2022 sales amounts, and that data would continue to change throughout the year. Okay. So we now have our source sheets in our template, and we are now ready to download the template. So I'm going to click here and do download template. And here we go. And I need to move my Zoom thing out of the way so I can see my buttons here. So we click enable editing and enable content. And as we discovered, if you were in the webinar a couple of weeks ago, when you first come in here, you look like you have a totally blank template, but you now see at the bottom your two source sheets that you added, 2021 sales and 2021 sales quotas. But then you look at these, you say, well, that's not very helpful either. What does this mean? So this is what the report is doing to generate the template. It's saying there's some text data here, okay? And then it does the same thing on here. And if you tried to build a template with any kind of calculations in it, it would be nearly impossible to do. So our next step is to go back to ClaritySoft. And what we're going to do now is actually run the report as is, okay? So we click on the report name. And then comes up. This time we have data, okay? So our 147 records should be in here, okay? And what we're going to do now is take that data, copy it, go to our template file, and then click beneath the sum text data. We need to preserve that, and then paste, okay? Then we go back to our other sheet. Where are we? And we're going to copy this data. And then go to our sales quotas and paste. Oops, I lost it. Hold on. Sometimes I do. Yep. There we go. Okay, so now we have some sample data to work with in our template. And this is where you need to pay attention. Up here at the top in the file name, it will have the word template in it. And you want to make sure that is indeed the one you're working with. So to protect myself from doing something dumb, I'm going to go back to this other sheet that does not say template. And I'm going to close it because that is the report as I ran it. And I don't need it open. And in fact, I have discovered in working with some of this stuff that sometimes if you leave the report that you run open at the same time you're working on the template, which basically have the same data in them, sometimes Excel gets confused. So it's best once you've copied the data, close that report and then just work with your template open. All right, so now we have our data in the template so we can start to build something with it. Okay, so first of all, what we want to do is we want to be able to take the quota data that's on this sheet and pull it through to this sheet, because this is going to be where we're going to have our data for our quotas, our data for our sales per salesperson, and then we're going to build a couple charts. So what I've done over here, hold on, because I've already pre-formatted some stuff. And I'm going to bring this back over here and paste. So you would start to build this, okay? And you can, you would obviously build it in here, but to save time, I did it ahead of time. And then I have a list of my people. So, okay. All right. So I've got the shell of this built and formatted. Now, what I need to do is pull through the data. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to hit the equal sign, then go down to my sales quota sheet. And this is where this is going to throw you off just a bit. Bill's number is right here, but I'm going to start here. And when it actually runs and does this, it will work correctly. So this will be the one tricky spot that you have to remember. Okay. So you click on that cell because that's where Bill will be when the report actually runs, and it pulls it through. Now notice, oops, I always do this. Wait a minute. I always click on the year instead of January. Where's my, oh, my fault. So I want to do equal. This is where I want to click up here. Okay. Oh, now it changed it to text. You see what happened? I'm messed up. I'm messed up. Yeah. Okay. See, it's good for me to make mistakes because then you learn from my mistakes if you make the same ones. Okay. So here we go. There. So that's there. And these are wonky numbers because it's the sum text dated thing. So just ignore all of that. And then notice that what actually is Susan Morris's number is down here in the total, but just don't worry about it. It'll get fixed when it runs. Then what I'm going to do is I can select this. And then because of the beauty of Excel, I can drag this across to December, and it will automatically pull in the numbers from each month as it goes across. And you can check them. So you've got D6, E6, F6, and so forth. So you can just double check that it worked. Then what I want to do is I want to add a total, which is a sum formula. Got that. And then I can take this and I can copy it all the way into the total column. And then I'm going to add a sum here. And then that copies itself down. So I've now added all the formulas that I need to pull the data, first of all, from the sales quota sheet, and then put sums here and for the totals. And then what I want to do next is format my numbers. So I can come up here and whatever way you format your numbers works. Okay. And if I wanted to make these bold because they're totals, I can do that. And then I could add a border at the top. So I've got that sorted out. I don't think that's stuck. Oh, well, won't worry about it. Okay, so those are my sales quota numbers. All right. So whenever I run this report, these formulas will automatically go to this sheet and pull the data through. All right. So the next thing I want to do is pull the sales information through. Now this gets trickier. me get the setup here. And this is going to be actual. I can type sales here. And then I need my people. Okay. Now, what we're going to use here is a sum if s formula. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is go back to my PowerPoint. And this is the formula. So sum if s, or it adds the cells specified by a given set of conditions or criteria. So here's the sample. So the first part is the sum range, and that's going to be the subtotal column. Then the criteria range is going to be the sales rep column in the sales sheet. Then this criteria 1 is going to be where the sales rep's name are in the sheet 1 where we're working and putting in the formula. Okay. And then the criteria range 2 is going to be the month, because we're pulling in by the month and we're pulling in by the salesperson. And then the criteria 2 will actually be on that sheet 1. Now these locations here may not match what we do or what you do. It's just more the logic of it here. Okay. So that's, and I forgot to change this here. This is not absolutely correct. One of those dollar signs should not be there. But this is how we'll build the formula. So I wanted to show that. I'm going to leave this here for a second. So if any of you want to grab a screenshot of this to help you, you can go ahead and do that. And then you'll have it so that you can refer to it as an example. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to grab. All right. So back to, where's our Excel here? Here we go. So to get to the formula, come up here. And if you don't see it, I've already used this, so I have it here. But if you just type in sum if s and hit the go, it'll find it for you. And then when you click on it, as you know, Excel helps you then build the formula. This is the best way to do it. So it's looking, first of all, for that sum range. And as I said, that is the subtotal column, whatever it happens to be. So I'm going to go down and click on my sales sheet, and then my subtotal column happens to be column H. And then I am going to select all the data. Now, because this is 2021, all the records that I have here would be all for 2021. Okay. I don't necessarily need to go below that because this is it. 2021 is done and this should be it. So you should be able to just select these and you're fine. Now, if you're doing 2022, because we're only in March, you would want to go down beyond, like we did in the last session, out as far down as you think you will have sales for. Okay, for 2022. Now, the other thing we need to do here, because it doesn't do this, is we need to add dollar signs in here to lock in the row and column headings as this formula gets copied. So you need to put those in, otherwise it'll not work. Okay. And then criteria range 1 is the sales rep column. So I go back to my sales sheet and go to the top. And so it happens to be column G. And I select down. And then again, I'm putting in the dollar signs. And I know there's a key and a function key you can hit to get these in. You cycle through, but I can't remember what it is, and I didn't look it up. All right, so then criteria 1 is the sales rep name, and that is on this sheet here. So where I'm clicking is on Bill, and that's at A16. Now, as the formulas get copied from this down and across, we want the row to change, but we don't want the column to change. So we're going to put $1 in front of the column and not in front of the row. And that's why I said on that screenshot, that one thing is incorrect. So you need to make sure you correct that. Then your criteria range 2 is going to be the month column back here on the sales sheet. So I come back here, move this over here, scroll up, and this is why I added that month custom field in the sale record, just to make this whole process easier. All right, and again, we must add our dollar signs. All right, and then our criteria for the month is the name of the month, which is at this location on our sheet. So it's at B15. Now, in this case, as we copy across, we want the column to change, but we don't want the row to change as we go down. So we want column to be able to change to CDE, but we don't want the row to change as it's looking for the different months. And then Excel gives you a result. So we got a result, which is good. And then you click OK. And then notice it does the same thing it did before. It just drops it all in here. And then you can select this, drag it across. All right. Then you're going to do the same thing we did up above. Equals sum. Enter. And then you can copy this one across. And then equals sum. And then that one auto fills. And then I would do my formatting of my numbers again. Oops. Where are we here? And have that. And I could do the bold here. See if we can get the top margin to show up this time, or the top thing. I don't know what I did. I think I changed the color and it's way too light. Okay. So I have that all built now. All right. Now here's something I also will mention, because I had this happen to me, where when I was putting these numbers in and the formulas and stuff, it wasn't recalculating properly. So if you find things not working, recalculating properly, go to your formulas tab up here and go to calculation options. And mine somehow got set to manual. Change it to automatic, and then all this stuff will work. for you. So just in case that happens as well, that's another thing I discovered had happened to me. I don't know how it got on manual, but I changed it. So that will work. Okay. So we got the hard part in. We got our big long formula in here, and our formula is working beautifully. And our next step now is to create a way to create the chart. So we're going to do this. Yeah, actually, we want to do this. And what we're going to do here, this is going to be actually the sale rep. And we're going to put the word quota here and actual here. Okay. And I'm going to format that. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to pull the quota per salesperson from here down to here. So we're going to just use that equal and then come up here, click on this and press enter. Okay. And it does seem to fill it all in for you, but you just want to check that it did what you wanted it to do. Okay. And then we do the same thing for the actual total per person. Okay. So this one is equal this, and it throws it in. And it all looks okay. All right. Now we can create our chart. So we're going to select the data and go to insert. And the last webinar we did pivot chart, pivot table. We're just going to do a normal chart this time. So we're just going to click here, choose this one, tosses it in for us. You can make it bigger. Okay. So we have the quota versus the actual for each of our salespeople. And we can change the title to 2021 sale rep. Okay. And you can, again, what we learned last week or the last session, you can click here and then you could show data labels on top of the top of your columns if you wanted to, or you can put a data table down below, whatever works for you, whatever makes sense to you. This might be a little bit better, just because then you can see it right on top of the chart. And if you make it a little bigger, gives it enough room to show. Depends on the numbers. I mean, if your guys are in the millions, then obviously that wouldn't work very well there. So you would pick what you want. And then you've got your appearance, or you can change the style of the chart, all that kind of fun stuff you can do, and format it whatever way you want. And then you can push it where you want it. Whoops, did the wrong thing. You can push it in position where you want it to be here. So that's how you can create that chart, have that chart there for you to see. And again, all of this is being calculated by what's coming from these two sheets here from ClaritySoft. Okay, the second one that I wanted to do was a quota versus actual for the month. So if I do this, come down here, paste, and we'll just say month. Okay. And January. February, and I don't know if you guys know this, but Excel has a wonderful little trick. If you start typing the months and then you select them and you drag down, it'll do March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And then it'll repeat itself. A wonderful trick. Okay. Now for the quota with the months, we aren't going down like we were over here. We're going across. Okay. So this is a little bit different. Equal, and then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on this quota and enter. Now notice what it did to me. It just threw in all these numbers because it has no clue where I'm going. It's going down in the spreadsheet. And so I just need to persist here and say, no, this is equal to, and then come up and do February and enter. Okay. Now there's another little trick you can do. This is kind of crazy, but if I click on here and I pull this way, I'm in February. This would be March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Then I can grab this and I can do this little drag and drop and just say up. Now this could be where temporarily you turn off that auto calculation to manual, and then it won't do all this crazy stuff to you. It might not drive you so crazy. Hopefully these match when I get them done. Kind of a goofy way, but I thought I'd show it to you. Saves scrolling up and down anyway. Okay, perfect. Now I take all this stuff and just delete it because it's not important. All right, so we got that matching where it's pulling from up above. So you can see this is equal to B11. Okay, and then the rest are there. Now we want to pull in the actual, whoops, up here, B11, sorry. We want to pull in the actual things which are here. So this is equal to this one, oops. And again, it's going to throw in a whole bunch of stuff. And then I could do that little pull thing again, or I could just keep going up here. It's equal to this. Okay, and work. I did get the actual sales, yeah. Okay, so this is equal to this. So it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, which way you do it, that little drag method. Now I don't remember where I am because I'm talking. Okay. Either way, it's going to take you a little bit of time, but the result is very cool when you're done. Oops. Wait a minute. What did I do? June. And I would recommend turning off the calculation temporarily. Like I said, it will make it a little less crazy. Now I keep forgetting where I am. September. October. And December. Okay, we got it. Okay, so now we have our numbers per month for quota versus actual, and we could now create a chart for that. And we come up here to insert and chart. And again, you can pick whatever chart you want. Where to go? I'll just do the same kind. Oopsie. So now instead of having it by sales rep, we have it by month, where we can see our quota versus our actual per month. And then kind of see where we didn't guess very well for September. We had a really good month in December or in September, expecting a lower quota. So again, you would format the chart, you know, get the title in here. One. And if you added your 2022 stuff in, you could have your 2021 quota and I think your 2022 quotas and actuals, because Excel will do multiple series types of charts. So you can probably get some more complex charts in here than you can in ClaritySoft itself. So this is 2021. Versus actual sales. Okay. And then again, I could turn on the, probably here, the data table would work a little better. So you could see what the numbers are for each month. And then you know, pretty up your chart and everything. Now, the next step is we've got this all built. It's all formatted the way we want it to be. The last thing I always like to do is go to the view menu and turn off the grid lines. So you get rid of those grid lines in the background. Just makes it look cleaner to me. So you have it all set up the way you want. You can add additional sheets in the workbook. So you could have different, you know, 1 year, this could be 2021 sale, you know, actual versus quota, and then you could have another sheet 2022, or you can have them all in the same sheet, whatever way you want. And you can have more data sheets. So this thing can get, you know, really big. But now what we want to do is we want to save this as our report template. So the first thing we do is we go back to our sales sheet. And we're going to get rid of all that sample data that we've been using to help us build it. So I am doing a Control-Shift-End to select all that data and hit delete. And I still have my sum text data that must be there. And then I'm doing the same thing in my quotas. Okay. Then when I go back to sheet 1, notice everything's dropped to 0, except for the sum text data line. Okay. Then I'm going to save this. So I'm going to do a save as. Now, if you hit just save, it's going to save it to your downloads where that's where it came from, but you want to do a save as. And then I would have a folder. I've got this here. I put an A in front of it just to put it at the top of the list. And I've got all my Excel reports in here. So you can see sales rep quota versus actual sales template. Now I want, this one is the webinar down here. That's what I'm saving. That was an older one. So I've now saved my template. I can close it. And then I go back to my ClaritySoft and I need to download or upload the template. I downloaded it, I modified it, and now I need to upload it. So I come over here and I click upload template. I find the template and click on it and then open it. It'll say it saved successfully. I am now done. So now when I run my report, I get my report, all my data, and see Bill is correct now and Susan Morris. So that's why that one thing where you're starting on the sum text data is a little bizarre, but that makes it work in the end. So we have all of our totals. I do have a border there that's very light gray. I did change it. And then down here we have our charts. And if we go to our sheet, all of our data come in, but notice that some text data is no longer there. That is the controller that makes everything work when it comes in. And that's why it needs to be in your original template. And then this is my quota. If I go back to my quotas for 2021 and I make any changes to the numbers and save it in that custom module record, then when that comes in again, it will automatically update it in here. Same thing if you were doing 2022, each time you run the report, the new sales would be included in the new report when you're running it. So that is how you can create something with two data source sheets in your Excel. And again, you can create more than one source sheet, whatever you want to pull together. The only thing you might need to consider when you're building some of these Excel reports is how much data you're pulling from your particular database. Some of you have, much more data in it than my little demo database here. And so if you have large amounts of data, you might have to, restrict some of it or make a couple of reports showing different things so that, the report doesn't get bogged down trying to run. But other than that, you should be able to start creating some two data source sheets. So if we go back to our PowerPoint, again, if you're an experienced Excel user, you may be already using this type of formula, but I wanted to show you this because it just gives you the idea that you can create just about any type of spreadsheet or formulas in the template. It'll do anything, and you just need to build it, and then it will work when it pulls that data in. So hopefully you got a capture of this. If you didn't, this is recorded, so you will see it in the recording, or we could probably send a screenshot of this to you if you requested it at info@claritysoft.com. So if you went to this email and sent it, we could send you a copy of that screen with the formula. So thanks. We had a good group today. So thanks for coming. Hopefully this has helped you get some ideas on how to use the Excel reports. And if you need any help, then give our tech support team a call at 888-838-7487 extension 2, or email them at support@claritysoft.com. And then if you have any new topic requests or critiques of what you've seen in current topics, then please email us at info@claritysoft.com. And I will let you go and have a wonderful rest of your day and get those Excel reports going out there. and we'll talk later.